Bonjour. I just wanted to let you know that I have a problem with the Mustang. And, well, I mean, it's not like a problem, but it's a problem, if you know what I mean. Okay, so let me explain. As you very well may know, factory forward intercoolers aren't generally all that great. They're sufficient for operation, and that's about it. On my particular car, the intercooler I do believe is slightly thicker than on the normal Ecoboost Mustang. But even then, it's still not cutting it. Only running about 2 psi more above factory boost limits, which mind you, my car already runs 22 psi stock, is definitely creating a noticeable issue for prolonged period of acceleration. And that's the problem. You know, just looking back on one of my data logs here, you can see intake temps. This is a very short duration of accelerating, only about 5 seconds. And you can see how the intake temps just rise. It goes from 102 degrees all the way up to a max of 134 degrees. On some of the logs I've done, I've seen higher. I've seen above 140, almost 150 degrees. And I'm sure some of my other logs may even show higher. You know, from some of my older tests, when I was doing longer acceleration runs, you gotta think, you know, if my car is 12-second capable car, then it's going to be under wide open throttle conditions for 12 seconds. So if the intake temps are already raising by 30, almost 40 degrees within 5 seconds, how much does it raise in a 12-second period? So this has definitely become a worrisome problem I have, and I don't know if I can really extract any more from the car with intake temps the way they are. So you already know where this is leading to. And the solution's probably not exactly what you would expect. So me being me, it is definitely what I would expect. So let me go ahead and explain this just a little bit more.
Let's have some fun on Karz Kreated.
So generally when people are looking for intercoolers for these cars, CV Fab is like the way to go. And I don't disagree. These are excellent, excellent intercoolers. Not that I have personal experience with them, but people who build Ecoboost cars have great experience with them. Just like they're saying down here, when you have someone building an 805 wheel horsepower Ecoboost Mustang using one of these intercoolers, it's gotta be pretty good, right? However, for the low price of $559.99, for me, it is not a viable option right now. There are many other options available, and generally for half the cost, you get half the intercooler. Much like this one right here. It is thicker this way than the factory intercooler by double at least, but not height-wise. So it fits perfectly where the factory intercooler goes, and it's going to be better than the factory intercooler, but it is a fraction of the size height-wise and only half the cost. So that really bugs me. But I cannot deny the build quality of a product like this versus something like this. So this is a stepped intercooler. So it's basically taking both the height and the width and doing it so where it fits in the factory location, then the higher part goes in front of the radiator and extends all the way up to the top part of the grille, getting airflow. Design-wise, this seems to be superior versus just a very tall intercooler or a very thick intercooler. I mean, theoretically, this is the best of both worlds. I cannot see how this is an inferior design, right? Now, this is a wonderful eBay special. So, you know, these are found all over eBay and I'm sure other websites, Amazon, whatever. And they're probably made in China, I'm sure, and they're probably very mass produced in some questionable manufacturing facilities. The only concern I have is the build quality, mainly the welds. The welds are what bothers me about a product like this, because a leaky weld means leaky boost, and well, you don't want that either. A leaky weld is also easy to fix, worst case scenario. So with all that said, for $219 for what seems to be a superior design, giving the best of both worlds of intercooler, I feel like this is the way to go. Before I order this, the one thing I want to check is this right here. It says the inlet outlet size is 70 millimeter. I just want to make sure that that is no smaller than the factory intercooler. So right now I'm going to go outside and check and see what the size of the factory intercooler inlet and outlet is. Okie dokie. So I got the charge pipe off here at the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and see what our trusty Harbor Freight caliper says. Looks like we got it right there. What's it say? 58.7. The measurement, that 70 millimeter must be outside diameter on the intercooler, which doesn't surprise me. Usually that's how those cheaper products roll. As long as the inside diameter is at least 60 millimeter, which I don't think there's going to be that much of a difference. But let's just see what the outside diameter is of the factory pipe. And I'll probably give us our 70 or close to it. And what's it say? 67.5. Okay, well, the pictures doesn't make it look like the thickness of the tubing used isn't that much thicker than this. So either the inside diameter is the same, but it has thicker tubing, or the inside diameter is a little bit bigger with a thinner tubing. I hope it's the latter, so I get a little bit more airflow, which is good because I don't want the overall outside diameter being any different, because then my Mishimoto charge pipes would have to be changed out for something a little bit bigger on one end. And that's an extra expense I'm not willing to make. So I think that tells me everything I need to know, and the next step is, yep. Well, the order's in. Now I just have to wait very impatiently, continually check the tracking information until it arrives.
One eternity later.
Ooh, what do we have here? Oh my god. Well, it has arrived, and this thing weighs a ton. Oh god, did they put a body in here with it? Jeez. And as per usual, shipping, it, you know, I can tell, and it's actually on like one side more than the other, and so yeah, I can see that packaging was not a priority with this. Go ahead and slice it open, see what we got. Okay, so yeah, not much packaging going on here, so it's just some regular cardboard, and then ta-da! The Intercooler. Oh, this thing's heavy. Well, I need 2 hands for this. Oh, jeez, I don't know why it's so heavy. Holy crap. That was so much for the protectors to go on the ends. They're just laying in the box. And I guess that's not it. And lay this down right here. All right, so here it is. This thing is a lot more robust than I thought, and there ain't no way this is aluminum. This was sought to be aluminum, I'm pretty sure. Like, I just had to go back and make sure, not to say this can be accurate, but aluminum, all aluminum, TIG welded, which, yeah, no, it looks like TIG welds. So that much is correct. It's just heavy. There just must be a lot of metal in here, and these walls of the tubing are pretty thick.
Yeah, boy.
And it's a rough cast, but it ain't terrible. But, you know, the welds are my concern, and they look pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, these welds are pretty good. And of course, I got the black one because I just kind of wanted it to blend in. I didn't want it to stand out, so this will look kind of nice. See, right here, you can see where it's like 2 of these. Here's the seam right here between the 2 cores, and then they have these extra big tanks on the end. But it actually looks pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. Other than the weight, which I'm not exactly sure what the factory one weighs, but I guess if there's just so much material within everything and the castings and everything, because these side tanks are casted. All of this is one solid cast into the inlet and outlets here. So that's kind of nice. And here's for the tip sensor. So unless the castings are just really, really thick, but I guess in a way it's kind of nice because if you're running really high boost, you kind of want that, but it ain't no dang race car. So now I wonder how big these are. All right, so we got the caliper here. If you remember, the inside diameter of the factory was like, what, 56 or something like that? So let's see what this is. 55.7. Wow, okay, that's kind of disappointing. It's slightly smaller versus slightly bigger as I was hoping. So I guess, I don't know, I just took a measurement there, 56. So it's the same. Let's check over here. See what it says, 56.3, so that's the same. Now let's see what the outside is. Probably where they're getting that 70 from. 69.5. That's fine, that's not a big deal. Now I just looked at it because there's two stacked on the front and then this one is stacked behind the first one. So you have 3 cores here. That's some heavy duty stuff. And it's actually not looking too bad. Now the only thing is, see, I just noticed this. I'm pretty sure on my car that the tip sensor mounts this way. This mounts this way. Hopefully that doesn't create an issue, and like the depth of it. Hopefully the sensor goes down all the same. If not, we're gonna be making some modifications somewhere along the way, but so far so good. I'm actually kind of happy, other than the weight, which I was not expecting. Like the welds and everything, the overall quality is acceptable for the amount of money I've paid, which was my biggest concern. Even though the weight concerns me, then again, I'm not sure what something like the CVVAB racing intercooler weighs, or even the factory one. I don't know how much they weigh. I know they use a mix of plastic and aluminum, I would imagine, for the factory. So, but the CVFab's all solid construction too, all metal. I would assume every other option is probably going to be more weight than the factory for that reason alone, but it's a lot more robust and it will handle a lot more boost. Not to mention, you know, it's like a big heat sink too, right? So, you know, thicker material means it's going to take longer for the material to become heat soaked. So in a way that's good. I just kind of want to keep as much weight off the car as possible, and not add it, but I guess there's really no way of upgrading an intercooler without adding weight to the nose of the car. I think the compromise is definitely gonna be worth it, because anything we lose with adding some weight, we're probably definitely gonna gain back with power, being able to run wide open throttle for extended periods of time and keep intake temps at ambient for as long as possible with this. I think this will do a great job. I think it's going to help a lot with the car here, especially with the Florida heat. It has been hot, really hot, like 90s hot. So definitely perfect time to get something like that put in place so we can keep the intake temps as far down as possible. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Be sure to look out for the next video, because in the next video I'm going to go ahead and install the intercooler and do some preliminary testing. And then after that video, we'll do a full test video and compare data logs and whatnot. So you don't want to miss those, so keep a lookout for those videos. But until then, to wrap it up for this video, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with everyone you know. If you want to see more content like this and you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Keep a lookout for the next true car enthusiast video.